What's going on, guys? AJTBLS here, coming to you with a new video in 2022. Hope you guys had a great year and a great holiday. We are going to start off this video by first showing you the deck that I use and a little explanation. So on Christmas at around like 3 a.m. being like December 25th, I remember just coming back from a family party thinking to myself, I want to play some Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't really want to do it on my main and I'm really kind of bored. So I'm going to create an alt account and we're just going to go to the ranked ladder. So it started out as just like a fun little thing, but then I kind of got on a roll and people were kind of wondering who this Batman account was. It was kind of like a joke in the Discord because the account name was Caped Crusader. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to play on this alt account and we're going to see where it goes. So yeah, I made this Batman account on December 25th at 2:15 a.m. I played 100 matches and I finished 81 and 19. I used the same deck the whole time, and I did that on purpose just to see where I would finish with this deck. So for monsters, we are playing 17 of them. The theme of the deck is obviously Chaos Control. We are maining Asura Priest. It does well against a variety of things, and it is an annoying card to deal with as it's just continuously going to poke you for 17. It must be answered. BLS, standard. Breaker, standard. 2 sorcerers, standard. We got the Mimic package here. A lot of people like going 2 Mimics in 1 level 3, but I actually wanted to do 1 Mimic and 2 level 3s as I like level 3 a lot, especially in this meta. It is a 1000 dark, always a 1-for-1. This card is always a 1-for-1. The worst case scenario is it gets killed by Don Zalug, or it gets banished obviously by Sork for BLS, but it is always a 1-for-1 and demands a response. Whereas Mimic, it can just get knocked in terms of, yeah, it's nice it's level 1 and it's a flip, right? You can recycle it with Tsukiyomi, but I just prefer level 3, and obviously the upgrade is pretty cool. That situation didn't come up that much from 100 matches, so I think that I like this ratio for my play style, which is more aggressive anyways. 2 Magicians of Faith. I was considering going 3, but I find it can brick a lot. And I don't really like it when it gets knocked. I'm used to playing with 2. I don't know if 3 is optimal or 2 is optimal, but I'm experienced with playing with 2 from the past. I've always ran 2 Magician of Faith, so don't know if it's correct. Maybe we should be running 3, but I like 2. Sangan, obvious. Serp, obvious. 3 Thunder Dragon, self-explanatory. Tribe, absolutely needed if you're running goats and if you're running any sort of control. Becoming standard staple in a turbo deck, and Tsukiyomi. I don't have enough flips to justify having 2. I actually only run 3 flip monsters, so I think 1 is fine. If I was running more, such as maybe 4 or 5, I would consider going a second Tsukiyomi. So now we're going to our spells here. Spells, we are running 16. 1 Book of Moon definitely is needed, but it bricks really hard in certain matchups, and against turbo it's pretty useless. That's why I'm only running 1. Sometimes I wish I had more in the main, but then at other times I'm really happy to only have 1. So I feel like 1 worked out, but definitely needed at mandatory at least 1, I feel, if you're playing control. We got the 2 pieces of the Trinity, heavy, 3 Metamorphosis. I feel like that's needed for for control, especially in this deck it goes well. MST, 2 Nox, standard, pot, standard. So I only played 2 goats instead of 3. I feel like goats can sometimes be really clogging, and I like to play aggressively, so I obviously use the tokens, but I just feel like 2 is fine. I feel like 3 is too clunky for this deck. Snatch, 2 Upstart Goblins. So this is kind of new for me. I'm not really that experienced using Upstart. Honestly, it was kind of an MVP in this deck. Being able to just siphon through my deck and see cards quicker at the extent of giving your opponent 1,000 life points, that's fine. It's also another spell in the grave and a target for Magician. So all this being said, these are a lot of spells. In retrospect, maybe it was better if I went 3 Faiths and perhaps cut something else, but I don't know. So I'm going to first explain these 3 here. Very obvious, like what they do, but I feel like these 3 traps I will always play. Potential of giving you +1s, and it's very rare for traps to be able to give you +1s, so or greater than +1s. Mirror Force could be at most a +4, right? Same with TT. I run these 2, and Ring I think is the best trap in the game for a lot of reasons. 2 Regeki Breaks because I do have discard fodder. I feel like 3 would be too much, especially in this Decree meta, and 2 Trap Shoots because I absolutely love seeing my opponent's hand and I can just side them out in game 2 if I'm against warrior or something. I'm experienced running 2 shoots. Again, I'm more of a warrior player myself. I have experience in turbo. I actually started with cat, and then went to turbo, and then warrior for like majority of my play. So control I'm not that experienced in, but I felt like shoot was good. So side deck, let's take a look. 1 Cypher Soldier. This is for when I'm against warriors, obviously. Another Mimic. I rarely put this guy in. I actually don't really know what matchup specifically I'd put him in. Maybe in like a mirror match I'd put him in. I think I put him in against decks that were also controlled because I felt like I have an edge in terms of like I add this guy and I'll add the other Tsukiyomi. Gives me a little bit more of options, so more, and also another Thousand Eyes target, maybe another Death Wombat actually, because this card was an MVP for me in a lot of matchups. This guy was really critical. Its effect is crazy. Attacks under the level limit, also attacks under Gravity Bind. Good card. 2 Kaiku kind of was like a cheat code in a lot of my matchups. You'll see in the statistics, frequently side out Upstart Goblin to put in 2 Kaiku when I was playing against any sort of chaos. So if I'm against Turbo, 2 Kaiku come in, Upstart's out. Or the Asura in Upstart and something else, put in 3 cards, right? Tsukiyomi, I side this in against control decks. I also side another one in against warriors. As a warrior player, Tsukiyomi is such an annoying card to deal with, as it just leaves the field kind of like a Asura Priest, but can make my monsters, which generally all the good warriors except Edie Warrior Lady and Dawn, they have 1,000 defense, right? So you put it face down, Tsukiyomi just runs it over. 2 Zumbraya, I put this in against warriors. These are only coming in against warriors generally. Also against like skill drain, beat down decks, or beast down. Another Book of Moon. If I see Decree, I put in Book of Moon. Obviously it operates under Decree of the opponents. 2 creature swaps. These come in against Turbo occasionally, definitely against warriors. Token Thanksgiving. I put this in against Burn when I see Ojama tokens, and I sometimes put this in against Control. Not the best, but this is a good card versus Burn. It saved me one time in the 100. And then 3 Decree. So I put these Decrees in when I'm playing against Warrior. When I side for Warrior, which is something that I take very seriously because I'm a Warrior main, I know how to beat this deck. I like to go 3 Decree, another Tsukiyomi, 2 Zumbrayas, 2 creature swaps in the Cypher Soldier, and I'll side out my Nox, I'll side out Asura Priest, I'll side out these 2, okay, leaving in that, and I'll side out these. And then we just go from there, but generally against warriors, I've done very well. So let's now go to the breakdown. Okay, so of the 100 games that I played, we played 10 Goat Control, 2 Empty Jar, 15 Warrior or Chaos Warrior, 6 Beast Down or Beast decks, 7 CC, 33 Chaos Turbo, 4 Burn, 6 RGT, so the Reasoning Gate. I also included like Stein Gate in here. So junk, anything that is like weird, we're talking like those water decks, Exodia decks, like just absolute horrible low tier decks. I just called it junk. Recruiter, so this will be like Angels, the creature swaps. I included those as Recruiter. Soul Control, so anything that ran Soul Exchange. Pac-Man, popular standard deck. And then Panda Burn. Only 2 of them in the 100 game matchup, which is surprising because if you look at like tournament show-ups, Panda's more popular. So this is my record against these decks. So against Goat Control, I was 9-1. Against Empty Jar, I was 1-1. Chaos Warrior or Warriors, I was 13-2. Against Beast Down, I was 5-1. Against CC, I was 6-1. Chaos Turbo, I was only 24-9. I can see this deck struggling to Chaos Turbo, as generally Chaos Control, which is what I was playing, it struggles against Turbo, especially because I'm maining Asura Priest. For my next 100 game sample, if I were to revisit this deck, I think I would have to make some modifications, as 33% of all of the decks I played against were actually Chaos Turbo, and my record, while it was definitely positive, was not the 80%. Burn, I was 3-1, which I feel pretty good about. Burn's a tough matchup. I've lost a lot to Burn in tournaments when I was on Warriors, so it was nice to have a nice winning record against this. RGT, I was 6-0 against. Junk, I was 6-1 against. I actually lost against a water deck. I remember being super mad about that. I smashed my desk. But anyways, Recruiter, I was 3-0 against. Soul Control, I was 2-1 against. I actually played a really, really good player on Soul Control. The person who was running this deck, I don't know whose alt it is, but I'm assuming it's the top player because the person that beat me with it did a lot of moves that top players would do, like the way they conserve their cards and their resources, and just the way they played. I liked reviewing that duel, and they got me good. So the one loss that I got to Soul Control was very, very well deserved. Pac-Man, I was 2-0 against, and Panda Burn, I was 1-1 against. So that kind of explains the gist of the record. I'm going to break down more. Goat Control I had no issues against. That was kind of like a skill-based matchup. And I have Thunder Dragons and they don't. I'm also maining a Sura Priest, so I think the 9-1 was very well deserved. Ejar, the 1-1, nothing you can say about that. The Warrior, my side deck just absolutely destroyed them. And also Warriors generally has issues with CC, so not that surprising. The only really thing that stuck out to me from this sample was my poorer record against Turbo, which I think needs to be addressed for the next 100. I think it's explained because like the top players that I'm sure are playing on alts that I played against in the 100 games were running the Chaos Turbo. So while this 24-9, I'm just trying to find a way I can improve it for next time. I wouldn't be surprised if the next sample will be somewhat similar. I'm hoping I'll do better against it because I think my next 100 games I think I'm gonna have to main Kaiku in whatever next deck I play. I really enjoy doing a 100 game sample size and showing what type of win rate I can get. I feel like I'm gonna do this again, but with a twist. I'm gonna put a poll or survey in the bio in terms of what decks you guys want me to play. A little bit of my experience. I'm experienced now, I guess, in Chaos Control, a little bit of Goat Control from prior, very experienced in Warrior, and semi-experienced in Turbo, and also have experience in Cat. I'm going to put down some options for the next alt that I create. I'm going to leave it a mystery of what the account name is until I release the next video. I felt like that was a lot of fun revealing who the Batman was. And whoever has the most votes by a set time period when this video goes up, I'll put like a deadline on it. I'll do 100 games with the deck that you guys select. I'll build it, but it'll be built in the premise of what the theme is. So if you guys pick like Cat, I'll build my own Cat deck, and we'll do 100 matches and see where we finished off. So again, 81% win rate with this Chaos Control deck. Account was made on Christmas. I hope to see you on the Discords and hope to see you around. AJTBLS out.